Hello everybody, the Worm is back with some more 999, and we are moving right along. We are reaching the next big decision of which door to go through, 3, 7, and 8, or 8 I should say, and I believe I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through door 3, because now I know, well, it's twofold really. One, Snake's behind there, and we'll finally get to investigate the circumstances of his death, hopefully. And the other reason is because I know that 3, 7, and 8 all lead back to this room. So I'm, the first playthrough I was just kind of going with my gut, and I didn't really want to rock the boat, and I didn't know what lie beyond, so I just went with what everyone wanted. Now, I will not. Now I'm going to attempt to find out what's going on. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? I think we could just skip. Yeah, and then this is where he says, no, you can't actually do that. And then we talked about the different possible teams. Okay. Let's see, am I recording? It certainly looks like it. Okay. We are going to go ahead and take the risk and choose door 3. But first, let me actually, because I saved a bit before the actual decision. Let's actually save at the decision. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I wanna find out more about what happened to Snake. Let's do this.
Sorry, Santa, but I still want to go through door 3.
See, now part of in the first playthrough I made, I think I made a comment or something like, I don't know, I didn't even really understand this option because I don't know how we're going to convince everyone else to go along with this. It's going to, like, I get we can convince June because she'll want to stay with Junpei, but how do we convince everyone else to go along with this? I don't get it.
What? That's nuts! You've got to be crazy! Why the hell are you so obsessed with that door?
Well, if we're just going at this from this playthrough alone, explaining Junpei's behavior, I mean, a big part of it is he would want to stay with June, I guess, but that seems pretty selfish if he's going with the idea that we'd have to leave 3 people behind. Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say.
I'm just curious about door 3, that's all.
Ooh, it's a pretty weak excuse there, Junpei.
That doesn't explain shit!
I've got a reason. I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me.
With that, he began walking toward the door. Their curiosity likely getting the better of them. Their curiosity likely getting the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that wouldn't matter. Is he gonna do some sneaky maneuver where he's gonna force someone to... no, not this. No. He kept walking and kept silent. Eventually they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei stopped.
I'm curious about the red. 7, would you mind authenticating for me?
Ooh, he's gonna do it. No, he's not gonna do it. What is he doing?
What? Why?
Please, just do it.
He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner.
Happy?
Yeah, thanks. The number 7 has been entered into the red. Next is June. Please touch the red just like 7 did.
Jumpy, what are you trying to figure out?
Yep. I think
Junpei thought about his answer for a moment.
I think I might have found another way out.
What?
What?
Really?
That got them excited. Just as Junpei had intended.
Now please, June.
Oh, okay.
7 plus 6 equals 13. 1 plus 3 equals 4. With those 2 numbers and the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He casually placed his own hand on the scanner, and the 3rd asterisk blinked on. Plus 5 equals 9.
All right. The only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
So, what's your point?
You don't get it. Think about it.
Huh?
What's the sum of your number and Clover's?
12.
And what's the digital root of that?
3.
Which is Santa's number. By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red?
7 plus 6 plus 5 equals 18. It would be 9, right?
Yes, and what will the digital root be if you add 3 to that?
3?
3. The door's number.
There you go.
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to?
So is it 2 teams of
I'm
3
not up to anything.
that go to 3?
I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
Wait, did I? No, I did not do that correct.
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa, or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting.
Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever. Wow. This is pretty amazing for Junpei to do.
You son of a bitch! You tricked us! And all that stuff you were going on about is all bullshit!
Bullshit, huh? I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figured out another way to get out of here? This is it.
So, hang on, it's... Yeah. Wow. So we're just screwing over Santa, huh? That's... Well, at least he thinks he is. This
Why
is
the
crazy.
hell would you do something like this?
Junpei glanced at June.
Jumpy.
You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. That's it?
Santa was furious. His face was red and flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. To be fair, I think I'd be pretty furious. Junpei closed his eyes calmly and then opened them again.
So, who's it going to be? Santa, or Lotus and Clover?
Shit!
Or is it... Oh yeah, because 7 is 3, so yes. I see now. Now I fully understand what he was saying.
Let's go, Clover.
Oh my goodness. Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei in the door.
Fuck!
Caught by surprise, Santa froze for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Almost immediately, he passed Lotus and Clover.
No, wait!
Santa did not hesitate.
Ah!
He slammed his hand down on the red.
This is insane! This isn't right!
He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving.
Yeah, well, you may be right.
Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort.
But
He turned to the red and pulled the lever. Man! I guess I don't know Junpei that well. Because if you're under the assumption that you're just leaving people behind, then this seems pretty dang cold. This gives us a different air about Junpei entirely. Like stone cold, you know? Yeah, he turned to the red, pulled the lever. With the sound of metal, the door opened. It would only remain so for 9 seconds. There was no time to think.
Go.
Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door's gaping mouth, one after another. No sooner did they enter than an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. Detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the door closing.
No!
They stood still, stopped where they had been, when Santa reached the red. The defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Really? But you did this, Junpei? Surely you had to realize you were doing this. My goodness. Then the door closed and they were gone.
You son of of a bitch, Junpei! This isn't fair!
Santa rounded on Junpei, lightning crackling in his eyes and his knuckles white.
Do you realize what you just did? You leave them out there, and they can't...
Really, Santa? You seemed so callous before. You really care about them?
Shut it! That's enough!
It hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but Seven.
We gotta find the dead or none of this is gonna matter!
The clock was ticking. The dead was their only chance at survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate their detonators, the four of them would be...
We got less than a minute left! No time for screwing around! Get moving!
Damn it! You and I are not done yet, bastard!
They scattered and began to scour the room. The activation device was nowhere to be found.
Where the hell is it?
We're looking for the bathroom, aren't we? The corridor stretched out in three directions, but everyone was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. One other door.
Over there! It's gotta be behind the door!
Seven ran for the door, a rusty iron thing. His large hands grabbed hold of the handle and he pulled. And we're gonna see him, aren't we?
It's pitch dark inside.
Oh, it's dark.
Can't see a thing!
Junpei struck his hand through the door and looked around the room.
No, wait!
Almost immediately, he spotted the blinking red light on the right wall.
I found it! The dead's right over here!
He stepped at the room.
Ugh.
Ooh, did he step in the blood?
What? The floor's slippery!
He stopped and glanced around at his feet. What was...
Hey! What the hell are you doing?
There's something...
Get over there!
Junpei felt Seven's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. Yep. Well, this is what I wanted. I wanted to investigate this. Here's that LLR again, which I was never able to understand. The other three piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could be easily identified, only a sense that something terrible shared the room with them. But there was no time to say so.
Quick! Get to the dead!
They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was the tiny red light blinking at them over and over again.
There
Excuse
it
me.
is!
It was over and over and over. In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel. Okay, that one, this time, the timer felt pretty close. I think that was down to the wire there. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted.
It stopped. It stopped.
Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face.
I don't think I'll ever get used to doing this.
What the...
The sound of retching came from Santa's direction.
What the hell is this smell?
Yeah.
This is vile. I'm gonna puke.
Can we find a light switch? So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench, like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took.
Oh, you're right. Oh, this is...
He felt his stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat.
Let's get the lights on first. There's a switch over here.
The light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small light switch. Barely illuminated a small switch plate next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes apparent in his gait, Seven walked toward it. Ooh. Oh. That's a noise. He stopped as he got close and extended his fingers toward the switch.
Okay, guys, I'm flipping it on.
There was a soft click as the lights came on. Just as the light turned on, June took in a short breath and... A scream echoes through the room. Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him.
What?
Hey. Oh, this is...
What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they had dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails, like tiny slugs, as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Looks like an explosion.
Seven's voice was low and strained.
Just like the Ninth Man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
I think that's the least of his problems, my friends. It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. His legs were bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had been split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay in the ground in
This is the
pieces.
worst.
So the bracelet's been shattered in this instance. Okay.
Yeah, can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket, with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
Is that... Snake?
So I think that whole description was pretty much the same as last time. Santa's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry.
Oh my god.
Finally, Junpei spoke.
Why did this happen?
Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream, full of insanity and not entirely human.
No!
She shook her head violently and grabbed fistfuls of her own hair. Well, certainly I could hardly imagine being there and being affected by all this. She did have a reaction to the Ninth Man, didn't she? Didn't she faint, and then that was the first indication she had a fever? Was that scene? Junpei could hear the sound of hair tearing. Oh my goodness.
Stop! Calm down.
He grabbed her wrist,
Hey!
but as he did, June leapt up and ran toward the exit.
Please! Get me out of here! You have to let me out of here!
Oh man. She screamed at the door and her fist slammed against it with hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of blood on her knuckles. So wait. I'm sure we'll get the layout of this room, but was Snake at the entrance? Because we heard them walking on the blood. I assume he was near the entrance, and so this door is on the other side of the room.
Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this?
A good question, June.
June.
And I don't really know the answer yet. She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry. Her fist flailed against the door.
Get me out of here! Please! Please! Just let me out!
June!
Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door.
Calm down.
No! Get off of me! Let me go! Let me go!
Please! Calm down!
She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed toward the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Her shoulders shook, and great hot tears rolled down her face like rain.
We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June.
I mean, I want to believe you, Junpei, but at least the current track record has it you getting killed, so
It's going to be okay, Connie.
Her name was a whisper.
I'll be here with you, okay?
She nodded once.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy.
Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic.
Do you feel better?
Yes, but I'd like to stay here. For a little while, at least. Jumpy's body is so warm.
Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. They didn't speak. Neither did Seven or Santa. A person was dead. They had died in that room in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget it. But mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made out of lead.
We better get to it.
Okay. Ooh. Listen to this groovy tune. So just the one shower room, huh? So I'm assuming this is the entrance we walked in from, and here's the exit. Where's the dead? I don't see it at all. Okay, we have enough time to do this. Okay, the mysterious LLR. Talk to me. Those letters written in blood. And see, here's the thing that was having so much trouble with. How in the world could he write it, having exploded? Half his face collapsed in. You know, you described it in pretty visceral detail, game. How in the world did he do that? Thank you, Seven. Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm glad that it's obvious. Ah, so that was here before Snake ever entered. Okay, good. Good to finally know that. Oh my goodness. A light switch that we can just toggle, huh? Yes, that is where we came in. Yeah, this is a pretty groovy tune, huh? What's in here? Ooh. Piece of paper. So I guess we're gonna want to do that at some point. Oh, water actually came out. Interesting. Okay. We got a car slot and a keypad, number pad. Lock and lock. Interesting. So we're gonna have to do two things, I guess, before we can enter in a passcode. Screwed on the wall. So we're doing something with water, doing something with temperature. Ooh, hey. There's our key card. Oh, we could just take that off, huh? luminol. Just grabbed it. That was very nice. Okay. So that's what the light switch is for. Toilet paper with something on the bottom here. X, Y, Z. I don't know. Skytail. What? I don't think I caught that. But I guess if 7 says so, I guess we'll do it. Junpei reached for the broom, and as he grabbed it, he heard a soft voice from behind him. It was June.
The rabbit hutch.
Huh?
He turned around. June still looked sadly pale, but there was a smile on her face.
Oh, you just reminded me of it. The rabbit hutch, I mean.
How did I remind you of something like that?
Jumpy and the broom. You're always playing around with the broom in front of the rabbit hutch.
I was.
Don't you remember?
Junpei stared at the broom in his hand.
You mean, you don't remember that summer either?
She looked very sad. He shook his head.
Of course I remember. How could I forget something like that? It was terrible.
Ooh, trip down memory lane time. They were in the 6th grade. Junpei and June had been assigned to take care of the classroom pets, the rabbits. Their chief duty was to clean the hutches every morning. On the final day of school, before summer vacation began, Junpei overslept. He rushed to school and found June standing in front of the rabbit hutches. No sooner had Junpei arrived than June began to cry. He had no idea why until he looked behind her into the rabbit hutch. The first thing he saw was blood. The hutch was filled with the dead bodies of the rabbits. Wow. Even after their teachers and friends came to see what the commotion was, June couldn't stop crying.
I just kept crying and crying until you came over.
What happened? Did a creature or, like a predator get in? What happened?
You held my hand, and you looked very serious, and you said, "Don't cry. I'm gonna catch the person who did this."
It was a person who did it.
After you told me that, I finally stopped crying.
Obviously, it was Zero. It was Zero who did it the whole time.
Well, the real fun started after you quit crying. You told me we were going to catch the killer together.
June smiled, and a little of the flush of life returned to her cheeks.
Then we decided that we'd ambush them.
Yeah, I remember.
The school also kept roosters and guinea pigs. Junpei and June had decided the murderer would likely finish the rest off. The murderer would likely return to finish off the rest of the animals. They would ambush the killer at night. Junpei and June hid behind the hutch at dusk and waited. It was a warm summer night. The quiet sound of crickets whispered through the air. As the sun went down, the stars began to wink at them from the sky. And June's Akane Kuroshiki's face. That night was something Junpei knew he would never forget as long as he lived.
But the murderer never showed up. We waited for them all summer vacation, and they never showed up.
Yeah, but the animals didn't get attacked either. I think all that work amounted to something, you know?
He'd felt the same way, but it was good to hear her say it.
Although, if you think about it, we were probably taking on a lot more than we could handle.
What do you mean?
She looked at him, confused.
Oh, come on, we were just kids. If whoever killed the rabbits had actually showed up, they probably would have had a knife or something. I mean, you must have been pretty worried, right?
I wasn't worried because you were there with me.
She blushed furiously.
Well, no one else wanted to take care of the animals.
Clearly embarrassed, she tried desperately to change the subject.
I was the only one who asked to do it at first.
Yeah, well, boys don't really want to bother with taking care of animals, you know?
Well, yeah, but you asked to do it after I did, didn't you?
If it wasn't the rabbits, they were gonna make me do something else. You know how that school was. I figured it'd be better if I was working with somebody who wasn't too much of a loudmouth, right? Somebody who wasn't gonna tell on me if I felt like blowing it off.
Really? That's why you volunteered?
Maybe one reason.
Yeah, it is.
He nodded quickly and much too earnestly, and then quickly looked away at something very important.
Really?
Of course.
That hadn't been the reason, of course. He had asked to take care of the rabbits so that he could be near June. But it had been so long ago, he couldn't bring himself to tell her how he'd felt back then. It would be embarrassing. Yeah, we don't really want to have too much romance standing next to the corpse. He took a quick breath to clear his head, tossed the broom up, then snatched it out of the air.
Well, we don't really have time to be walking down memory lane like this, you know? We've got to figure out a way out of this room. Otherwise...
Yes. I'm gonna look over there.
June nodded curtly, turned around, and walked away.
I should get back to it myself. Ah!
Ooh.
That's right. The pool of blood.
Junpei turned around and looked at the room. At Snake's body. Chunks of flesh and organs still lay on the floor.
Going on and on about old times right next to a corpse?
Yeah.
What were we doing?
Well, we did have a situation in the last playthrough where we got trapped in a freezer and we almost went off on a tangent about ice when, you know, we were freezing to death.
Well, maybe it was because we're in this mess.
But yeah, there was a good reason for that conversation. It was to calm June down even more. Despite such a situation, or perhaps because of it, the mind turned to the farthest things from death that it could find. Although that story did have a good amount of death in it. Still, Junpei couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt at wanting so desperately to live when Snake lay dead before him.
I have to survive, no matter the cost. I need to make sure she gets out too.
As he stared at the clumps of blackened flesh, all Junpei could think of was how much he wanted to live. Broom! We're gonna do what you suggested, sir. What is that? Is that what it says? Well, I guess 6.3 plus plus? No, 6.4 plus. Okay, I'll take your word for it, game. Tar. Luminol. No. I accidentally clicked through part of this conversation. What was it? So he knows something about organized crime? Is that what that is? I mean, he has the look of it. Hey, screwdriver. Okay. Red keycard. And we can't look at those ones. I don't trust you, Santa. Ooh. No, don't trust him. Okay. Did that do it? No. Left, center, and right. How do I know what direction does what? Yeah, I get that, I understand. Also, it had mercury on it. Ah, I see. Left, left, right, left, right, left. Understood. Left, 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 left. Right, 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 right. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I have no idea what it could be otherwise. Hey, we got it. What do we have? What do we do with the stuff we have left? 634 plus, huh? What do we do with the screwdriver? Well, let's start trying things here. Don't have a plus. I see an issue. There must be... Oh, wait. Screwdriver, of course.
Hey, Junpei, you know why thermometers only go up to 107 degrees Fahrenheit?
Okay. The thermometer was screwed onto the wall. That meant Junpei needed to take the screws out with a screwdriver. While he was so engaged, Santa suddenly spoke up. Hey, Junpei, you know why thermometers only go up to 170? No, Santa, why? Junpei answered without taking his eyes off the screw.
No, I can't say I ever thought about that.
At 107 degrees, the cells in the human body start to die, and the organs begin to shut down. The proteins in your cells start to harden.
Well, that seems like a pretty good reason.
It's like when you hard-boil an egg. Even if you cool it down afterwards, it won't go back to being a raw egg. In other words, it's dead. That's why thermometers don't go past 107. There's no point.
Why had Santa brought that up? Junpei wondered.
Oh yeah?
He continued to work at the screw.
But it's pretty rare for a fever to get that high. Even viruses and stuff don't usually drive the body temperature up to 107. Of course, there are other external things that could.
Like what?
Well, let's see. Something like getting locked in a sauna, or getting thrown into an incinerator and burnt to death.
Yeah, I guess that would get a little hotter than 107 degrees Fahrenheit.
Junpei gave a little short, barking laugh. A moment later, the screw fell off. With a small tug, Junpei pulled the thermometer from the wall.
All right, I got it!
He looked up and saw Santa glaring at the blank section of the wall.
Huh? What's up?
Nothing. Forget about it.
Santa spun around and walked off away from Junpei. Santa's got something, man. You know, there's that thing about with his sister, the thing about the 4 things he hates, this conversation. There's something off with him. Does it mean he's 0? Not necessarily, but just there's something wrong with him.
What was that all about?
As Junpei watched him go, he didn't look angry. He looked very, very sad. Ah. We need this to be hot. Oh, this was hot. That looks like that's doing the trick. There's the gauge. Now it's at the open mark. It opened. What's this? Looks like there's a piece of paper. Nice. 957 plus K. Okay, time for some quick math. 634 957 634 957 634 957 634 957 634 634 937. Okay. What? Nine five 634 957. Ah, I mistyped it. Wait, what? Am I really this bad at this? What am I missing here? It's not upside down, is it? No. I'm missing something. Hum. No. I'm obviously not understanding something. This feels like it should be that. Obviously, I'm missing something. Aha, I am still missing something. What is the bucket for, huh? Tin bucket. And what are we doing this for? This? Wash the dirt off. No, no, no. Oh, I completely forgot about this. Yeah, do it. What? Oh, I see. Sorry. Where's the, Oh, I clicked it by accident. Okay, so now I have to have everything. 185 equals... Oh man, how's this gonna work? So 634 plus 957 plus equals... Is it... Hang on. Is it as simple as 634-957. Is it as simple as no? Get out of there. 25. Equals 1775. I think that's it. Cross our fingers. No. No, it's not. Six, 3, 4, 9, 5, 7. Dang it, what was it? 185. Ah, was I just off by one? Hey, happy Independence Day. Hey, 1776. Hooray for America. Happy Independence Day. We made it. Yes. Okay, sorry about that. That probably should have gotten through that a bit quicker. How long have I been going? Pretty much almost an hour. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. Yeah, not much more. I'm sure they're gonna go talk about Snake's death, but really we haven't learned anything new, unfortunately. Finally found out what that writing on the wall was all about, but it turned out not to be involved with what happened with Snake at all, which is, well, I know less than before. Well, that's not true, but I don't know anything new about it, about Snake's death, so that's a shame. Had a pretty emotional moment with June there, which, you know, being just an average person thrown into this situation and having to deal with not just death, but incredibly gruesome death at that. I mean, I don't blame her for freaking out. You know? I mean, I've lived a lucky life in that regard, that I've never had to deal with something as raw as that, you know? I mean, just insane. But fortunately, Junpei was able to be there for her. I'm not sure how the rest of this playthrough is going to go, because thinking about it, Junpei has now essentially antagonized Santa, Lotus, and, well, I guess Clover, but Clover's going to be shell shock mode again, because, you know, we're going to talk to her about what happened with Snake again. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, because this is very different. Yeah, I honestly can't see Junpei making that decision. It's very strange for him to do something that would potentially cause, because again, we're going with the fact that he doesn't know these rooms connect. So potentially leaving behind 3 people so that he could just stay with June. That's why it's made me, I have to rethink. I have to include that when thinking about Junpei's character now, because he can be, when it comes to June, Protective is putting it lightly, it seems. So we'll just have to consider that going forward. In any case, I've been The Worm. This has been more 999, moving right along, and I hope to see you next time for more. Have a good one.